Today I want to introduce a special guest speaker of ours, World War II veteran Salvatore Scherma, my grandfather, who was our master of the ceremony. He was born May 2nd, 1924, Cleveland, Ohio. He was drafted into the Army March 30th, 1943. Left for Camp Perry, Ohio on April 7th, 1943. He was placed in the Army Air Corps. Went to Clearwater, Florida for basic training. May 1943, he was assigned to Kessler Field, Mississippi for airplane mechanic training. January 1944, he was ordered to report to Pueblo, Colorado Air Base, where he worked on a B-24 and a B-29 bombers. He was discharged from the Army Air Corps on February 17, 1946. It is my distinct honor and pleasure to introduce Salvatore Scherma, our Master of Ceremony.
I want to thank the VFW for every time I think about veterans and the men that were killed, my friends, I just break down. So bear with me. When Joe asked me to be the leader in the parade, and I'm thinking, do I deserve this honor? Then I'm thinking, in World War II, he said there was 16 million GIs in the service, different services. So I say to you now, I represent those 16 million. If you close your eyes, you just imagine, right beside me, there are 16 million GIs. So I want to thank the VFW for not honoring me, but to my comrades in World War II. In the last 100 years, officially, there were two world wars, World War I and World War II. When I say officially, it was sanctioned by the Congress and signed by the President. And when I look here, Vietnam, Korea, Grenada, well, let me say this. I don't care what the heck the politicians call it. If I shoot at the enemy and the enemy shoots at me, damn it, that's war. And that's the way I feel about it. My experience is not necessary right now. We are honoring the ones that served, and in particular, the ones that were killed. 7 of my young men that I grew up with, swam with, played baseball, were killed. I graduated in 1942, West High School. 3 of my classmates were killed. Every veteran has a particular story to tell. All different, sometimes exciting, sometimes not, but to the ones that's telling it, it's the truth. When I was stationed in Keesler, Mississippi, for one thing, when I was drafted, and I was drafted, I didn't know what service I would be in. For some reason, and I'm very grateful for it, I was assigned to the Army Air Corps. At that time, the Army Air Corps, or the Army, you had different branches, the tank, the infantry. After basic training, I was sent to Keesler Field, Mississippi. I had an extensive training of 8 months learning to be a mechanic on a B-24. The first day of the session, one of the officers spoke. He says, "We're going to teach you to be mechanics. And remember this, learn extensively this position of being a mechanic." He says, "There's no such thing when you repair something that I don't think it'll work. It's got to be, I know it'll work." Because remember, there are 10 men flying that plane. What happens in the air, you have no control. But what happens in the ground with mechanics, we had control. In that same session, we were talking. There were soldiers from all over the country. And then I heard one fellow say he was from Cleveland. Martin Egler. Right off the bat, we were fast friends. He graduated in '42 from West Tech School, and I graduated from West High School. It was only a matter of about 3 miles between schools. We were fast friends. In our breaks, we would sit down and discuss what we were taught that day. And I really believe discussing that with my friend, my buddy, made me a much, much better mechanic. In November, after 8 months of training, they actually had a commencement. We graduated. They gave me a diploma. They gave him a diploma. It was great. Now the next step is, where do I go from here? In 4 days, this Martin Egler received his orders. He would transfer to San Antonio, Texas, a gunnery school. And he ended up being one of the flight crews on bomb runs. And being a mechanic, he was given the title of flight engineer. 1 day later, I got my orders. Where'd they send me? To Ypsilanti, Michigan, where they were assembling the B-24s. I was there 6 weeks. I never saw Martin Egler when he was shipped out again. He was sent overseas, and on a bomb run, he was killed. I knew he was killed. I didn't know where he was. I contacted the War Department. They told me that Martin Egler was buried at Gettysburg National Cemetery. And as soon as I got that report, I went to Gettysburg, and sure enough, there's Martin. Talk about faith. You don't know what happened. I went to Ypsilanti, Michigan. After the 6 weeks, I was going to be reassigned. They sent me to Pueblo, Colorado. Again, fate stepped in. I was there for 22 months. I was in the Army, the Air Corps, 2 weeks shy of 3 years, and I never went overseas. And when I go see Mark, I wonder who decides who dies and who lives. You know, you can be in a foxhole, and 3 feet away from you, buddy, we killed this, and there you are, still alive. You can be flying at 30,000 feet. 400 bombers going over the enemy, and right to your right wing, a plane will be blown up. Who decides? I've asked that question many times. I never really got an answer. Does anyone have an answer? I don't. best one I got is his number was up. Well, this is about as good as answer as any. As far as the World War II veterans, there aren't very many of us left. When we joined that, I was born in a close ethnic neighborhood. And as the veterans returned, we formed a club. We never was in a national organization like the VFW. We had our own organization. We call ourselves, like this badge says, Neighborhood Veterans of World War II. We started off charter members of 138 charter members. That was in 1946, February. And here we are now. There's only 3 of us left. I'm the youngest. I'm 90. The next one is 92. The oldest is 93. So, as far as the roll call of World War II veterans, they're getting mighty thin. Again, this organization of the VFW should be proud, and other organizations, but in particular the VFW. I think they're the leaders. They stand out for keeping the idea of the veterans in the minds of the citizens. We have Memorial Day, 1 day a year to remember, which is great. Watching those people on the sidelines waving to me, it really got to me. So, I'm losing my thread. I get emotional, I'm sorry. But the VFW promotes the idea of 365 days a year to remember vets. They promote the idea of contributing to organizations, contributions, or whatever, especially to veterans. So, your commander, VFW, I appreciate the idea, but remember, there are 16 million GIs speaking right now. I represent just the one. And I am honored to be here to represent 16 million soldiers and GIs